Greed has a way of sneaking into relationships, even when it hides behind laughter, promises, and smiles. If you are on the path of spiritual awakening, moving toward higher consciousness, or recognizing yourself as one of the chosen ones who see the world differently, then you already know. The people closest to you are often your greatest tests, and nothing tests your growth more than a greedy friend. They look harmless at first, but over time you realize they don't just want your money, your energy, or your time. They want your light. They want to drain the very essence that makes you unique. And the deeper you go into awakening, the sharper you feel this truth. It's not just about losing a friend. It's about facing a mirror that shows you how much you've grown, how much you're willing to let go, and how strong you've become in protecting your soul. Think about it. A greedy friend doesn't always ask you for money. Sometimes they want attention, validation, or constant reassurance. They make every conversation about themselves. They measure their connection to you by what they can gain. And here's the twist, you'll never feel full around them. It's like eating a meal with no flavor. No matter how much you give, they'll always be hungry for more. That hunger is endless because greed is endless. And this is where the spiritual test comes in. When you're on the path to higher awareness, greedy friends don't just annoy you. They challenge your boundaries. They push you to ask, how much of my energy is sacred? How much am I willing to protect? And how much am I willing to lose just to keep someone who doesn't value me? I want you to picture this. You're climbing a mountain. The higher you go, the thinner the air gets. The harder it is to breathe and the more strength you need to keep moving. Now imagine you're carrying a backpack full of rocks. Those rocks are your greedy friends. At the bottom of the mountain, the weight feels manageable. You can laugh, talk, and even share the climb. But the higher you rise, the heavier that backpack feels. At some point you realize you cannot reach the peak if you keep carrying all that dead weight. You face a choice. Keep climbing and drop the rocks, or stay stuck halfway up, suffocated by a weight that was never yours to carry. This is the test. Do you choose growth or do you choose comfort? Do you rise or do you remain grounded by greed that isn't even yours? Greedy friends have a unique way of disguising themselves. They'll say things like, "I'm so proud of you," but deep down they're hoping you'll fail so they don't feel small in comparison. They'll pretend they care about your dreams, but notice how quiet they get when you succeed. Pay attention, because silence can reveal more than words ever could. That silence, that shift is your clue. It tells you their loyalty was never to you, but to what they could gain from being around you. And when they can no longer benefit, they turn cold. They withdraw. They even resent you. That's not friendship. That's transaction. And here's the revelation. You are not meant to be a transaction. You are meant to be transformation. And transformation requires you to let go of those who cannot rise with you. Now let's look deeper. Why do greedy friends appear in your life at all? On the surface, it feels unfair. You're giving, loyal, open-hearted. Why should you attract people who only take? But here's the shift. These people are not accidents. They are lessons wrapped in human form. They force you to recognize your patterns. Are you giving too much just to be liked? Are you tolerating disrespect because you fear being alone? Are you confusing loyalty with slavery? A greedy friend exposes these blind spots. They are the pop quiz of your awakening. And when you pass, you rise into a higher level of clarity. Suddenly you see relationships for what they are. Energy exchanges. And in that moment, you stop being a victim of greed. You become a master of your boundaries. There's another twist. Greedy friends don't just test your patience, they test your identity. Think about it. When someone constantly drains you, you start asking yourself, am I too nice? Am I too weak? Am I too forgiving? But the truth is, their greed isn't proof of your weakness. It's proof of your strength, because only strong people attract greedy friends. Only people with real light attract moths that can't stop circling the flame. Your very existence exposes their lack. And instead of fixing themselves, they try to consume you. This is why the chosen ones, the awakened souls, the people walking toward higher consciousness, always deal with greedy friends more than anyone else. You carry something rare, and rare things always attract desperate hands. Let me give you a story you'll never forget. Imagine you're at a banquet table. The table is full of food, fruits, bread, desserts, all within reach. Everyone has enough to eat, but there's always one person who keeps filling their plate higher and higher. They don't just take what they need, they take what they want, even if others go hungry. Now here's the twist. That same person will complain later that the food wasn't enough. And this is exactly how greedy friends act. They take from you until you're empty, and then they blame you for not giving enough. But here's the power move. You don't have to keep inviting them to your table. Your energy is your banquet. Protect it. Because when you stop feeding greed, it starves. And when it starves, it disappears. Some of you might feel torn right now. You're thinking, but I don't want to lose my friends. I don't want to be alone. Let me tell you something powerful. Solitude is never empty when you're walking in awareness. Being alone with clarity is better than being surrounded by greed, because in solitude you hear your own voice. In solitude you sharpen your intuition. In solitude, you prepare yourself for the kind of relationships that are based on respect, not exploitation. The spiritual awakening journey always passes through a valley of loneliness before it reaches the mountain of authentic connection. And greedy friends are the gatekeepers of that valley. They're not there to keep you stuck. They're there to make you strong enough to walk through it. Here's another insight you need to hear. Greedy friends don't just take, they also block. They block your growth, your opportunities, and even your creativity. Have you ever noticed how drained you feel after being around them? That's not coincidence. That's energy theft. You sit with them, and afterward you feel heavy, uninspired, almost like you've been unplugged from your own power source. That's the cost of keeping greedy people close. And until you cut that cord, you'll never realize how much energy you truly had all along. It's like carrying weights on your ankles while trying to run. The moment you let them go, you feel lighter, faster, unstoppable. That's the transformation waiting for you. And let's not forget, the presence of greedy friends also reveals something about you, your value. Nobody robs an empty house. Nobody wastes time trying to steal from someone who has nothing. If greedy people are drawn to you, it means you carry abundance. Maybe not in money, but in wisdom, energy, creativity, or vision. You are abundant, and that abundance makes you a magnet. So instead of asking, why me, ask, what does this say about my worth? The answer is clear, you are valuable. Too valuable to be drained. Too valuable to be surrounded by greed. Too valuable to settle for one-sided connections. Now let's bring it home. The biggest spiritual test is not recognizing greedy friends, it's choosing what to do about them. Do you keep entertaining their hunger, or do you step into your higher consciousness and release them? Do you continue letting them pull you back, or do you rise into your chosen path? The choice is yours. And here's the real breakthrough. Every time you let go of a greedy friend, you create space for someone genuine to arrive. You can't fill a cup that's already overflowing with poison. Empty it, and suddenly there's room for sweetness, for authenticity, for connection that lifts instead of drains. So if you've been struggling with greedy friends, here's your clarity. They are not curses. They are your teachers. They are the mirror reflecting your own boundaries, your own self-worth, and your own growth. And once you recognize the lesson, you don't have to keep retaking the test. You graduate. You move higher. You step lighter. And you finally see, greed was never about them. It was about you learning how to protect what's sacred inside you. If this connected with you, thank you for staying until the end. It means you are ready for that transformation, ready to step into your higher consciousness with more clarity than ever. If you felt this message, make sure you like this video and subscribe for more. Because the journey doesn't end here. It only begins when you take the next step.